gonna be like, this is my school. You know, where's my school? Mine's the big one with the big kids, you know? Where are these little people?
Yeah, but kids are resilient. So
Yeah.
she will make it. Everyone enjoy your lunch? I hope so. This afternoon, we're going to be working on close reading, analyzing text for deeper meaning. So, basically with this right here, we're going to be looking at some of the concepts by Fisher and Fry and how they apply close reading strategies. There are other types of close reading, like you can look at it through different lenses and things like that, but we are going to focus on the Fisher and Fry. Now, just to see, because I know a lot of high school, we have one middle school, are you middle school? Two middle schools, okay. Got two middle schools in here. So, one of the most interesting things that when I gave this workshop the other day, is whenever we're working on text-dependent questions. A lot of times, teachers feel they're asking text-dependent questions, but whenever it came down to it, they realized, like, these text-dependent questions are a little harder than I thought, and I may not be asking the text-dependent questions. So it's going to be very interesting, but I know Maria and Prairie, you know, y'all are going to outshine the other schools as far as your text-dependent questions. So we're going to see how that works out. Our goals for today. There's actually a slide that I forgot to take out. I'll explain, my mind is like everywhere. But we're going to understand how students are assessed in written text. We're going to look at differentiated activities to assess, meaning to address how these kids are assessed. And we're also going to look at some right to learn activities. Casey wanted me to add some of that information toward the end, because she said she wants to see how all of it comes back together with the writing component. So basically, the standard we're going to be addressing is our, for middle school it's going to be Figure 19D, for high school it's going to be Figure 19B, which is the make it inferences and textual support. So that's what we're going to really focus on. And just to understand what close reading is reading deeper for details and meaning. And earlier today, for those of you who are working with us with the short answer response, you're actually doing a lot of close reading. You may not have realized you're doing close reading. And a lot of people have this misconception that they hate close reading because they have to read so many times. But it's not about reading so many times, but it's like what you're reading for. If you're looking for something specific, and like today we were looking for something specific and people just read because they wanted to make sure they really understood. So, and it's a way of interrogating the text. You know, kids need to learn how to question the text, especially at the middle school level. It's either Figure 19A or B that deals with all the different questionings that they're supposed to conduct when reading. So, what I want you to do as a table, once you have a little discussion, why are students having such a difficult time reading the grade level text that we're giving them? So, just kind of discuss that with your partners or your groups.
I think they want to take everything at face value. Like they don't want to spend the time to go deeper into really understand.
Yeah, they also enjoy examples.
I think it's also stuff that doesn't interest them sometimes.
Well, I don't think sometimes they have the experiences to think beyond what they already know, and so they, you know, it's like if they don't understand or if they don't have the experience, so to understand what they're reading, it's hard for them to get it. You know, it's like that. I think part of it is I don't get this, I never get it because I don't know what they're talking about. So you know, they don't have anything to connect it to. Yeah, especially when it comes to like the senior English, British literature, that stuff. Oh my god.
And they kind of, you know, from elementary start skipping over the big words. Oh, I don't get that one. I'm just working on and not taking the time to be like, oh.
Yeah.
Windows open and not English too.
And they got used to, so they just telling me, you know, having to be, you know, when I made them just get out, I'm like, no, thank you. Well, I get it. Okay, what do you do? You know, I'm like, I'm not giving you the answer. You're in high school. You're about to go out there alone, and nobody's going to give you the answer. You know? So.
Allowing those uncomfortable pauses.
Yeah.
real quick, I apologize. He was just telling me, I just wanted to let you know that you all are being recorded, just so everyone is aware. There is a video camera over here. One of the principals requested that this session is recorded so they can go back and show parts to their new teachers during professional development, so they can look at some of the close reading strategies. So it's not necessarily about you, but it's about the presentation. But I did want to let everyone know. So those of you who are closer to the sound, I think that's where it's. So I just wanted to let you know.
Is it recording right now? Or we're just doing
Yes.
Well, it's going to change the attitudes about reading.
Okay, so who can tell me, why do they think reading is so difficult for students with our grade level text?
They're used to taking so much at face value. They're used to people telling them, you know, how to think and what to think. And so that they don't want to do that work. They don't want to dig deeper and really analyze things.
Okay, anything else?
I said sometimes they don't have the experiences or the knowledge of the stuff that of what they're reading and trying to understand the deeper meaning. They don't have that kind of experience, or they have no connection in their own lives to understand it, so they just kind of keep going and they're like, okay, well, you know.
Okay.
A lot of students have ingrained negative attitudes about reading, and I think that closes them off from even trying to attempt reading it or attempt understanding it. They just, have this mentality where they can't or they won't.
Okay, and where do we think, because that's very interesting, because especially when we get to the secondary level, we find that they really try to wean off of reading as much as they can and just like, okay, I just don't want to deal with this. Because why do you think that is? I mean, especially when you think about, hey, a lot of kids love reading when they're in elementary, but as they start to get to the middle school and especially high school levels, it's like, okay, either they like to read or they don't like to read when it comes to high school.
Some of them have just made up their minds that they're not going to pursue an education any further than high school, and so they're not motivated to put forth any extra effort, and that's where I come in. I'm motivated to get them to want to, maybe change their mind about going to college.
Okay, but when we're looking at the reading aspect, what do we notice is different? Why do they love reading so much or enjoy it more in elementary than they do at the secondary level?
It's more independent. At the secondary level, we expect them to read it and comprehend it completely on their own.
And it's assigned.
Or with a little bit of, or it's homework, take this home and read it and come back tomorrow, or, it's way more independent and it's on them. And if, for whatever reason they had maybe a bad experience when they were younger, or maybe they, at some point stopped comprehending that, there's a gap there, they may just give up and shut down.
Okay, and I like what you said. Why may there be gaps with this reading? What makes it so difficult for them? Like whenever they are trying to read, because I've heard mention about bad experiences.
They might not have a strong foundation. Either they weren't read to, they don't read. I mean, elementary school, it's a chapter book. It's
Short.
a picture book. It's short. And I learned something, I can't remember, I think it's Kylie Mears who said, when we grew up and learned to read, we could see the movie in our mind. This is not for informational text necessarily. And I tell them, I said, you are missing a free movie. If you can't run these images and these voices and all that kind of stuff in your head. And she says today's generation doesn't do that. They just see flat words on a page and there's no connection to it.
Okay. Yeah. That's what we need to know. So we understand why kids are having a difficult time. First of all, things are assigned at the secondary level. It's becoming more independent. How many of you read to your kids on a regular basis? Okay. How many of you, and I know this is going to sound elementary, how many of you actually do try to help your kids with the visualization, like even if it is something with a picture book or a book that has pictures associated or whatever else? How many of you use that? Okay. Now, based on what we just discussed, what has proven successful in teaching students to understand those texts that are difficult? So just kind of discuss with your group again what has proven successful with you not only think about the activity, but actually thinking about, okay, how are you really, the components of that activity, what are you doing in that activity that makes it successful, okay?
I think it's looking at short pieces, and the protein part, if you just really look
Yeah,
at
it's a smaller piece, because a lot of times it's sort of, you know,
This is one of the things I understand.
I may read some of it, and then I make them go back and look at a piece of that. Or,
And
you know,
then,
say, okay, now you go back and read this piece of that, because I think a lot of it is kids, the link, just, I mean, you give them a couple pages and that's,
Yeah.
it's 3 pages. It's
Because
like,
everything
this
in
is
your world,
nothing.
well, everything in the world is like this.
That
Yeah, that's
alone.
not, everything's given to them, I mean, technology, you know, it's all, well, I can just, you know, I can get on my phone and it'll be given to me.
They're not
And,
interested
and,
versus maybe.
one of the things that started doing is reading Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And one of my notes, he's like, oh, can I listen to a real audio? Because we found that she was like online. And had it, and we really good audio, it wasn't just like really monotone one. I mean, the reader did a really good job. And it actually came with the lyrics on it, and I read that with the audio was, and I'm like, at first I was gonna say no. I'm like, as long as you're following along. I think that's okay, and so we started, in a lot of my, I started offering that on some of the chapters, like, you like, you can read, you know, you can listen to the other, but you have to try them. And a lot of them started actually just paying attention, and reading it, because they were able to, they're more, I mean, I don't know, it helps them to audio, because a lot of the words, they can look at a word and they don't know what it means, but they hear it, and they know what it means. And so maybe just having that, that helps them.
Because on the test, they don't hear
We got through
it,
it
and
this
so
year.
there's
I
gotta
had
be
one
a.
class that loved it.
And we don't do it all, because I think it was one of those often,
And a
like,
lot of
yeah,
kids
chapters,
really,
yeah,
really
I'm like,
liked it.
I mean, I'm guilty of it, because we put in the office.
Just because of the time
yeah,
period.
Alright, let's talk about that. Alright, back to the book.
yeah.
And we listened
And this
to
is on the
audio.
phone, so they control it, they can.
It is.
They had that science
But at the same time, the kids, like,
And some of them choose to read aloud in groups. Some kids choose to read aloud, which means, and so.
That's like they could, you know, the ability to hit the different learning styles instead of just everybody has to learn this
So in
way.
a way,
You know, getting the audio and the visual. I
Mm.
think that really helps them.
having some sort of system.
And because I also have a conclusion, especially at the class, and inclusion class, so, you know, a lot of my kids who were my social work groups, they enjoyed that, they, you know, it's easier for them to follow along and pay attention to.
Those kinds of things.
Okay, what I want you to do is, try to come up with some things, like, for instance, if you, can anyone name an activity that you do that you find is successful with kids reading? Difficult text?
I had,
I was gonna say, can we turn off this?
we were reading Frankenstein, and one of my students, because it is a little bit more difficult text,
Uh-huh.
he had found an audio online,
Uh-huh.
and he wanted to know if he could listen to it. I said, as long as you're still following along,
Mhm.
and they had activities, and actually, some of the students found they could understand it a lot better, just maybe from hearing it, because a lot of times they'll look at words and they don't know what the word is on the
Mhm.
page, but if they hear it, they know the word.
And exactly, read aloud. And so we're gonna do, that's what I want y'all to think about, your activities that you're doing and those components, like for instance, that's a read aloud. You know, regardless if it's by the teacher or if it's by the audio. And just come up with some things, I'm gonna pass out some more index cards in just a moment, and we're gonna start adding them to the chart, the things, the actual components of those activities that make it successful, okay? So, because we really need to kind of think, because we're gonna get into some text complexities and things of that matter in just a moment. As soon as I find my index card, I'm telling you, I'm like out of it today. Okay.
Slide my head.
I think that's one reason why the kids love math so much, because they become not just information,
Yeah, just writing down some of the components of the activities that have proven successful with students when it comes to reading, especially when it comes to reading difficult text. Like you were just saying, like the read aloud. If there's certain things, I think I heard you say a shortened version as well. You know, like a chunk, you know, so things like that. What has proven successful with those kids? Because we do have those who they just seem to have a difficult time, but somehow you see that light spark in them sometimes. And once you've done that, and you can discuss this with your neighbors, just get a marker and come over here under successful and write down some of those components.
One kid finished, because I had something.
Is it parked right up?
When one kid finished, she's like, oh, that's what happened. And then all of a sudden the other kid's like, you know, because they all wanted to, I said, as soon as you finish it, ruin it for everybody else to read. Questions together, and then they acted like they were a radio show, and one kid interviewed another kid who was acting like a girlfriend, so they chose which one. Chose to say that, and then they wrote questions. And then one kid was answered the questions, while the other kid was interviewed. And the guys are really into that. This was role playing. This was
I just assume every time we walk in here it's being recorded because it's so loud.
Do you want us to write?
Oh, yes, if you, yeah, just go ahead and write number 6, that's good.
Something, and she said she used the 3 most important words. Phrases, we just assume what it is. I used to be a freshman, I would speak as if I knew seconds or less. I would
She used to do all that. So page.
The rings were tired when we were slow. Yes.
It's interesting.
Okay, that's 50 points. How do you know these?
My kids like
Right
that
here it
stuff,
says
but,
there's really good points. So, and we go ahead and do it like this. But I would
I have to do the online spelling job.
call them that same way.
So they have, you know,
The 2 part.
things to look for, and they're like,
So I'll just,
they have to find information on their own, and they were coming up with these questions. How was this question from? Who was this from? How was the patient, you know, kind of all this, just by grouping. It's a, it's
I'm talking about, reading about the outlets.
There's steps for that
I did
too.
a little bit of finding out about Scott Fitzgerald, but because.
And of course, if we need to get another sheet, I can always help.
Yes, and
help.
they come up with a question, that's one thing that's really successful. The kids come up with their own questions, and I told them, I don't know what they're like that, so every day, they come up with questions for me to research and come back with answers. So they like that.
GPISD, GPISD.
Yeah. Funny thing is, I left there for so many years, and then I ended up going back like a couple of years ago, and I was over there. And then, because I was actually at COG, so I started working with those. So, it's very interesting. And then I can, a lot of people still there, some of them.
Yeah, I keep in touch with some of them.
Yeah.
Cause like, do you remember, Randy Rochelle?
Oh, yeah.
Couch.
Yeah.
She's now,
Over at Galena Park High School.
yeah, she's doing the career counseling.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, so I'm like, that totally fits her too, like
Yeah.
that. That fits her
Cause
very much.
she does so well with kids, you know, just outside the classroom and things like that.
Mhm.
I can't see her being the kind of administrator that's physically near me.
Mhm. Yeah.
I have a question. I'm getting ready to send this email and it tells me Tiffany Arnold, Chrissy Franco, Chris Lee does not appear in my email address. I'm assuming it is, like Chris Lee, unless this is Christopher Lee.
Did you search for it?
Well, I can't do that on the iPad that I know of.
Y'all need another, sheet?
Oh, we're good.
Okay.
Get out.
Nothing.
And while they're still writing, we'll go ahead and look at the next question is, what has proven unsuccessful? Now, we need to look at our successes, but also what has not proven to work well, especially whenever kids are reading something difficult that we've done, that we've tried out. Because every one of us have tried out something that just failed. I mean, it failed miserably. So,